Welcome back, students. We have seen so far in the story that Charlie reaches to the third level, and here when he reached at the third level, he found that the general layout was very different from that of the second level. You remember the second level where the suburban trains were available for the passengers and people were all dressed like the 20th century. But here in this third level, he found things very different. For just a moment, I thought I was back on the second level, but I saw the room was smaller. There were fewer ticket windows and train gates, and the information booth in the center was wood and old looking. And the man in the booth wore a green eye shade and long black sleeve protectors. The lights were dim and sort of flickering. Then I saw why. They were open flame glass lights. So compared to the second level, it had smaller rooms and fewer train gates and ticket windows. The information booth in the center was made of wood and it looked old-fashioned. And the man also sitting in the booth, he wore green glasses and long black colored sleeve protectors. Charlie could see dim and flickering light as it was burning through gas lights, and we can guess that there was no electricity. There were brass spittoons on the floor, and across the station a glint of light caught my eye. A man was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket. He snapped open the cover, glanced at his watch, and frowned. He wore a derby hat, a black 4-button suit with tiny lapels, and he had a big black handlebar mustache. Then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 1890 something. I never saw so many beards, sideburns, and fancy mustaches in my life. A woman walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress with leg of mutton sleeves and skirts to the top of her high button shoes. Back of her, out on the tracks, I caught a glimpse of a locomotive, a very small Courier and Ives locomotive with a funnel-shaped stack. And then I knew. Children, now we can see that Charlie was all puzzled and he was trying to figure out where he actually was. Things were very unusual here. As we have seen, there were brass spittoons on the floor. Spittoons are vessels used for spitting. And a man looked at his watch, which was not worn on his wrist, but was kept in his vest pocket. He was wearing a derby hat, a black 4-buttoned suit, and had a big bent down, handlebar is bent down mustache. They looked so different from the people of the modern times, the 20th century people, who normally keep their beards and mustache shaven. Charlie saw there, they are all dressed like 1890s something, with beards, sideburns, and fancy mustaches. Even women also wore puffed sleeve dresses with long skirts and high button shoes. He could also see a courier van of Courier and Ives company. That was a very old company, and such type of vehicles were not seen anymore. Was Charlie in some sort of a time travel? Had he reached back to the 19th century? Charlie wanted to confirm. To make sure, I walked over to a newsboy and glanced at the stack of papers at his feet. It was The World, and The World hasn't been published for years. The lead story said something about President Cleveland. I've found that front page since in the public library files, and it was printed June 11, 1894. Now Charlie wanted to get confirmed, so he thought that the newspaper boy carrying piles of newspaper could be of some help, as dates are printed on the newspapers. He saw The World publishing an article on President Cleveland. This newspaper had not been printed for many years. The World hadn't been published for so many years, and Charlie was now confirmed that he was in the 19th century when he saw that the date printed on it was June 11, 1894. I turned toward the ticket windows, knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central, I could buy tickets that would take Louisa and me anywhere in the United States we wanted to go in the year 1894, and I wanted 2 tickets to Galesburg. Charlie had always desired to go to Galesburg with his wife Louisa, as it was a peaceful place. He was well aware that from here one could buy tickets that would take them anywhere in the United States, and so he thought of buying 2 tickets to Galesburg. Charlie puts up a question. Have you ever been there? There means Galesburg. It's a wonderful town, still with big old frame houses, huge lawns, and tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roof the streets. And in 1894, summer evenings were twice as long, and people sat out on their lawns, the men smoking cigars and talking quietly, and the women waving palm leaf fans, with the fireflies all around, in a peaceful world. To be back there with the First World War still 20 years off, and World War II over 40 years in the future. I wanted 2 tickets for that. Charlie described the place as a wonderful town, rich in greenery and natural beauty. There were not much of activities in the lives of people, so the men mostly spent their time smoking cigars and talking, and the women would sit and talk, waving the palm leaf fans, as we know that there might be no electricity. It was a peaceful place, and Charlie described how things were in 1894 before the 2 world wars. Charlie always dreamt of such quietness and contentment in life, away from the hustle and bustle of daily routines, and so he thought of buying 2 tickets to Galesburg, Illinois.